Okay, listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to day 11 of the January Grand Sumo Tournament. Not so much trivia today, but a cute Atamifuji story. He wrote an essay when he was at school. He was only 12, and I quote the essay: "I'm going to be a sumo wrestler in the future. My dream is to become a yokozuna and perform the dohyo iri ring entering ceremony. To achieve this, in junior high school, I will compete at national tournaments. In high school, I'll join a strong sumo club. Then, together with my teammates, we will aim for the national championships. For university, I will enter Nippon Sports Science University just like Endo and join the sumo club. After that, I will join a strong sumo stable. I'll rise up from Jonakuchi, which is the lowest division, and reach Juryo division by the time I am 28 years old. My height," it's interesting that he can predict this, "my height will be 185 centimeters. My weight will be 195 kilograms. When I enter the ring, I will perform the salt tossing exercise to warm up the crowd. My sponsor will be Naga Tananien. I will eat ochazuki, rice with tea, every day. Although I will master many techniques, my winning moves will mostly be oshidashi and yorakiri. As a top-ranked Magashira, I will defeat Endo, and I will surpass Osunarashi, who I once wrestled when I was in the 6th grade. My ring name, or my shikona, will include the word Atami. I will give 1/10 of my prize money to my parents, and when I retire, I want to open a sumo classroom in Atami and pass on my style of sumo to future generations." End quote. Well, look, Atamifuji did get to face his hero Endo 4 times. He didn't actually ever get a win over him. He went 0-4 against Endo, the last one in May last year before Endo retired. I've reposted that story and the photos on my X account. Very cute. On to today's day 11 action. It seems that our former yokozuna Sashoryu's stinging criticism the other day of the current crop of sumo, including the loss of the yokozunas, might have had the desired effect, if only on his nephew Hoshoryu. They do have a bit of a prickly relationship from all accounts. Hoshoryu faced Papayasu Takayasu, who has been in pretty good form this tournament. He does not have a good record against Takayasu. Hoshoryu is only 6-10 against him. There's a big touchy eye as they both tried for a grip, but Hoshoryu missed the belt as Takayasu kind of got the belt and then lost it as he drove Hoshoryu, and Hoshoryu was under serious pressure going back to the bales. Hoshoryu grabbed an arm at the last minute, yanked Takayasu past him over the bales on his right as he danced on the bales to the left. Quite the escape for the yokozuna. Totari arm pull for Hoshoryu, who stays in the Yusho race at 8-3. Takayasu look likely out of it now at 7-4. Sorry, Papayasu fans. We were a bit surprised to see Yokozuna Onosato turn up today and perform his dohyo iri and for his fight. Apparently last night was more of an abrasion on the shoulder than a swelling as we thought it was, but I expect there was still some pain there if you saw the photo on my Instagram story after his last effort last night. He faced joint leader Kirishima. Now, to be honest, I thought Kirishima would put up more of a battle here. It was a good touchy eye. Kirishima tried to target the left shoulder of Onosato. He really went hard at it, but Onosato turned his entire body and led with his right shoulder deliberately. He got an inside right belt grip on Kirishima and just drove him back and over the bales. Yorakiri win for the Yokozuna Onosato 7-4. Kirishima falls back into the clutches of everyone else at 8-3 after 2 losses in a row. Takanosho absolutely smoked Kota Zakura, got a double inside body grip and drove him back and over easily. Kota Zakura's probably now at a contention as well at 7-4. It just looked like Kota Zakura just couldn't execute any sort of plan against Takanosho, who really needed that win. 2-9. He's got a bit of work to do to save some face for the rest of the week. Aonishiki jumped into the lead with a win over Hakanofuji. It was a good touchy eye. Aonishiki got a left inside and somehow it looked kind of like he lifted and then dropped a collapsing Hatsu onto the deck. It was a slightly unusual move as I was trying to work out how Hatsu collapsed. They called it a shitatanage underhand belt throw. Look, it's probably more about Hatsu collapsing, similar to the way I think Hoshoryu previously collapsed in that similar style. Anyway, Hatsu 5 and 6, he's got work to do, and Aonishiki joins the lead at 9 and 2. Yoshino Fuji got onto the belt and used it for a good Watanage over Oho. Wakamoto Haru faced Ura, who for some reason tried to get his head under the armpit of Wakamoto Haru, maybe again for the Teizori, but he just got driven to the bales and yeeted over the edge. He ended up in the alley, kind of went over off the edge there. Failed to get that to work on Wakamoto Haru last year as well, so not sure why he had another go this year. Yamamoto, he faced a pretty dangerous Wakataka Kage. There's a good touchy eye as they both thrust at each other, locked up as Yamamoto then dragged Wakataka Kage down, all too easy. Hikiyatoshi pull down for Yamamoto, again like Takanosho, moves to 2 and 9. Wakataka Kage with plenty of work to do, 5 and 6. Onokatsu delivered a henka on Daisho. Tsukiyatoshi thrust down win, can't thrust at a henka. Daisho 4 and 7. Daisho 5 and 6. Onokatsu. Atamifuji, who we we're just talking about, faced a very dangerous and fast Fujinokawa. Big touchy eye as Fujinokawa got an inside right grip. Atamifuji locked up his arms, Kimadashi, and just dragged him around the ring with that arm. He then dropped and pushed Fujinokawa over the bales as he slipped and fell into the alley. Atamifuji into the joint lead at 9 and 2. This basho is going well for him. In another big match early in the night, it was only the second fight, Abi and Shishi faced off to see who would be the one to move to 9 wins. After a short mata by Shishi, Abi delivered a henka. But it didn't quite finish Shishi off. Shishi was off balance, chased Abi, but Abi just got out of his way, gave him a bit of a helping hand over the bales to jump into the joint lead. Abi 9 and 2. Shishi falls to 8 and 3. Probably not a bad tactic for Abi, as Shishi is proving difficult to handle. And if he's watched the videos, he knows that you can't really thrust Shishi around. Shishi's footwork has been much improved, so Abi's style probably wasn't going to suit beating Shishi, so a henka was probably a viable tactic and a pretty good option for Abi in that one. And to be honest, Shishi just missed it. Former Ozeki Asaniyama, he notched up his first Kachikoshi in Makuchi top division in 2 years with a win over Hiradumi. Yorikiri for his 8th win, and a relief for Asaniyama. You could kind of see it on his face tonight. Hiradumi 7 and 4. Ashoma beat Roga Uwata Dashinage, ended up in a big throw at the bales, but not before Ashoma gave Roga a slap that I felt in Australia. Roga 4 and 7 for the win. Ashoma only at 6 wins. Shodai got a Hikiyatoshi pull down on Tomokaze. They locked up, but Shodai just withdrew and yanked Tomokaze down. Mitakayumi drove Goniyama to the bales, dragged him down for a Takikomi slapdown. Goniyama just retreated and tried to pull down, but it didn't work for him. Mitakayumi 5 and 6, Goniyama 4 and 7, and on wood. Midorifuji, he got a one-handed Karasukashi over Ryuden. Old Ryuden just can't seem to beat the pocket rocket. After the touchy eye, Midorifuji got both hands under the armpits of Ryuden. He locked them up hard and they worked for a little while. Midorifuji, you could see, is working, trying to set something up. Eventually, he dragged him over Karasukashi. I thought they might go for a Tsukinage beltless arm throw there, but they did call it a Karasukashi. Not a classic one. Pretty good win, that one, for Midorifuji, 5 and 6, with, like Wakataka Kage, a bit of work to do. 4 and 7, Ryuden, who is on wood. So that's it for day 11, folks. Don't forget to join me on Instagram and X, where I post. You can leave a comment. Join me on YouTube. Comment there if you wish, and I generally try and find time to respond to everyone's comments. It's always a lot of fun. Join me again, folks. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.